Alright, now that we've got the HTML done, we can start looking at the CSS code. So this is where we left off last video, and this is our goal. So it looks like we're a long way from there, but all the HTML text is already done. So we can start figuring out how to make our website look nice like this. I like to start with the general things. So like, what is the whole HTML document? The body has kind of this white transparent background, but the background of the whole document is this plain picture. Now, I did find this on Pixabay, but I can cheat a little bit here. If I go in here and background. So I've got this image right here, and if I just right click on it, or just click on it, it's going to give me that picture again. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I can give you this photo, or you can go look for your own on Pixabay. Let's put this in my design studies. Oh, no, that's not what I want it. Sure, let's just put it on the desktop, plain wing. Okay, so we're going to add that into my code. So again, I'm going to make a folder, just going to call it image, and then I'm going to want to add something. So I think the easiest way is just to drag and drop this in there. Again, make sure it's like labeled something nice, like plain wing. You know exactly what that is. Okay, perfect. So we'll go to CSS file or style.css file, and we can just type in, okay, so this is an HTML for everything, and I want that background to be, now we got to put in the URL, so URL, and it's going to be in the image folder, and I called it plainwing.jpg. Okay, there we go. And if let's just see what this looks like first. So I'm going to run that. You didn't work. Did I name it the same thing? Image / plain, no type. Spelling work matters. Okay, there we go. Now the one problem with this though, if I just go and look at this, the plain wing's not really centered how I have it nicely over here. So one way to fix that is I can actually put some other settings in here. I can say, hey, I want to center this, first of all. So we can run that. And that should make it look a little different. Yeah, there we go. Now, it is possible to make this plain wig go over and over and over again. You can go look on W3 Schools, and they'll tell you all the different ways you can choose how this background looks. However, I'm just going to tell it that no matter what, I don't want it to repeat the picture. Okay, so now if I go hit run, just make sure this looks good. Okay, perfect. So no matter what, it's not going to repeat itself, which is good. Okay, so that's our HTML. Now, one thing you might notice is there's this little white spot here. It would be nice if it covered the whole page kind of no matter what and just stretched it out. And so for that, we're going to change the background size. And we're going to say we're going to cover the whole thing. And again, there's lots of different options here. Cover will make it so it takes the whole page up. I should make the whole page up. What are you doing? Background size. Did I not hit run maybe? Okay, there we go. It should stretch as I go. Yeah, it does. It kind of stretches to be different sizes. Again, you can play around with different ways of that. Okay, let's go on to the body of this then. So generally, some things with the body. We've got this white transparent background. We haven't done a white transparency before. There's a special width on it. And then, well, I guess we'll kind of see what it looks like after we make that. We can see if there's any padding or margin that we need to do. So our body, obviously the background. Now we haven't done this way before. To add transparency, I'm going to use the red, green, blue, but then also my alpha. You see it actually comes up here as alpha. And alpha is just how transparent something is. So I'm just going to make these all to 255 because I want this to be white. It's not cooperating here. Okay. 5 and my alpha. So we can play around with the alpha a little bit. If I do like 0.1, let's see what that looks like. Run. You can just barely see, just barely. Let's go to like 0.3. You can see it gets a little darker. Now, I chose to go 0.8. I think it looked nice. You can just still see in behind a little bit, which is good. Other things that we noticed right away was the width. Now, I know I used a width of 500 pixels for this, so I can hit run. And now if I go over here, I should see, there we go, perfect. Now, some other general problems that I'm seeing is I don't have a border radius. This looks like it has a border radius on it. What else? Yeah, and it looks like they have some padding in here as well. So let's do that. Let's do the border radius first. Now, if you watch the previous ones, you already know I kind of have a preferred border radius for this. I do like the 25 pixels. I think it looks good. So let's just make sure that that does look good. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice rounded corners. Perfect. And some padding. Now for the top, there's a decent amount of padding there. And on the left and right, there's some padding as well. So we'll say top and bottom, 50 pixels, and let's do 100 pixels for the other side and see what that looks like. Hey, there we go. Perfect. So now we've got that padding there and there, which is good. Now, we want some margin, which is going to be the outside. So that's going to get us this part here. This is how far away the body is from the next part. So let's do that. Margin. And I think I did 25 pixels on the top and bottom. And then I always want it to be centered. So like when I'm making this bigger or smaller, I want it to be centered no matter what. So I'm going to use an auto on that one. So I'm just going to put auto. And now if we go back here, it should be centered. Yeah, perfect. And we've got a bit of a, yeah, about the same margin on the top. So that's on the edge of the border. Or yeah. Okay, anything else that's kind of common between all of them? Oh, it looks like the font might be a little bit different. Yeah, looking, I think I used font family. I used Arial, I think. So that font family. Okay, yeah, that's starting to look a lot closer now. Okay, perfect. So now we got our body done. Let's go on to the next part. Let's just do the header then. So let's compare these two headers. Oh, this is definitely smaller right now. So this is bigger and it's blue. So let's go into H1. And I'm going to make that font size. I could use the inspector, but I still know what I used for this stuff. I used 42 pixels. And there's something else I did differently. Okay, so if you look here, these capital letters are actually smaller than the big capital, but they're still capital letters, and there's a way to do that, and it's called the font variant. And you can see all sorts of stuff comes up here. You can go on W3 Schools, and you can see all the different possibilities. We can't run through them all here, but if you look, these should turn to capitals and be smaller. They are perfect. Good. So anything else with H1? Oh, I said the color. Now the thing with the color though is that this H2 header is also a different color. So rather than have to do that twice, we can actually call both H1 and H2 at the same time. So now the computer knows, hey, we're talking about both of these. And I do need a space there. I want a space there. Okay, so now we can do the color for those. So we're going to say color, and I think it's a midnight blue. There we go. And what else? Oh, that's actually still a different font. Okay, font. That was a Georgia, I believe, font. Cannot read and edit only mode. Oh, it's loading. Perfect. That's what you want. All right, and we're back. So, where was I now? Oh, man. Let's see. That's still having trouble. Excellent. Okay. I think I'm just going to copy and paste. There we go. So we just had to change the color. That font family is what I was saying. So it's Georgia. There we go. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Let's just corner big one and see. Okay. Oh wow, that's starting to look really close. So the headers actually look identical to me now. Horizontal rule looks pretty good. Okay. Let's look at the list then. So the paragraph actually looks the same too. Going back and forth. It looks like we've got something going on here that maybe this was emphasized. I want to say that was probably emphasized. Let's just go back. Yeah, it looks like there must have been an emphasize on that. So which paragraph is that? Yeah, let's go back to the HTML. Where are you? And that paragraph, click the Mad Lib button. Okay, so emphasize and emphasize. There we go. So that should make that Mad Lib perfect. Okay, so now we're getting closer and closer. We're so close. Looking pretty good. I noticed on my list, if you look here, there's like a bit of a gap here. So I must have used some kind of padding on there, or margin to give a gap. Yeah, I think I used margin on that one. Okay, so because it's a list and we only have one, we can just go to our style sheet and we can say, hey, I want to look at all my lists. And what do I want to do to them? Well, I'm going to just make it so they're all just going down a little bit at the very bottom. Just say my margin bottom is 10 pixels. And what should happen is just at each bottom, it should push it down just a tiny bit. It didn't, which makes me wonder why. Because I keep on putting a in there. There we go. Hey, there, now we got the gap. Okay, let's just go back and forth for a second. Okay, this looks good. Okay, the button is really the last thing that stands out to me now. So we only have one button, which makes that nice. We don't have to use any kind of identifier other than button. Okay, so when I look at this button, what is it? Well, first of all, it's blue, and it definitely has a border radius. So let's do the border radius. I can see that right away. Radius. I like 5 pixels for these. That makes it look nice. Curved corner, perfect. So if we compare this, there's no padding on ours right now, or not enough padding. So just put a little padding on the button itself. And I think 20 pixels is going to look good. Let's just see. Let's get a little bigger. Oh yeah, there we go. Wow, it looks weird now, but I think that's very similar to what I had. It might look a little better when I go and change some other stuff in there. Like the font size. Yeah, that's the problem. The font size is so small right now, so let's just change that. Font size. And I want that to be 18 pixels. I think is good. And let's see if that looks a little better now. Oh yeah, see now the padding doesn't look so ridiculous. It still looks a little funny to me. Let's do 15. Ah, there we go. Oh, that's just, no, sorry, that's the wrong way. That's why. No, we're good. We're good. And what else? Definitely the color is an issue. So let's fix that. So it's the background of the button. And I think I use sky blue. Looks really nice with that. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so these two things should look pretty similar. We've got to change this padding a little bit here. It just looks weird. I think this one is a little bit longer, but then the height-wise is a little bit different, less. So we're going to go 5 pixels, go 30. So this is going to be my top and bottom. Oh, there we go. That looks much better. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so now all that's left is this little line around it, which is our paragraph element, I think is what we used. So, have we done anything with the paragraph yet? Let's see. Have we? I don't think so. Let's go to the HTML and make sure. Oh no, we did use paragraphs in other places. Okay, so we just got to put a little ID in there then. Paragraph. I want that to be an ID to equal my result. And otherwise, I think we are good. So go back to the style sheet. Now this is just a single one, so that's why I can just use hashtag, and I called it result. Okay, so now it knows that. And what do we got to do to that? So first we got to put a border on it, just on that element. And to do that, we type in border. And I want it to be 1 pixel thick. You could put like 5 pixels thick. And I can say, hey, I want that to be a solid color. And it's orange. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Didn't show up. Let's see if I run it here. You still can't see it. Let's see it. Did I maybe not? Let's see if I made the ID right. Yeah, paragraph ID. Let's just check that the ID is even working. Didn't mess something else up. Something small maybe? Yeah, okay, something small. I just didn't have a space here. Okay, there we go. So we got a 5 pixels thick, which is too much. I think I already told you it was 1. So there we go. Now it looks how this one does. You're going to notice, though, there is some padding there. Now that padding looks like it's equal all the way around. And so I'm only going to put one number, because I will just do all of it at once. So padding, and I did 20 pixels for that. Oh, there we go. Starting to look good. It looks like I have an extra, like, little arrow there, too. There we go. All right, what else? Is the font size different? Oh, yeah, this is a little bit different. So font size, it's 18 pixels. Okay, and the line height. So how much space does each one of these lines take? So you can see here there's like a little gap in each one. So we can change that by, it's called line height. And you can play around with it, but I use 25 pixels. And I think we're good after that. So let's just see. Let's double check. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I think it looks a little bit different here. I might have put a line spacing or something. Not a big deal. I'm going to leave it like this. But yeah, it looks good. And so now that is the last of our code alongs for HTML.